Well, the NRL are considering a number of rule changes for 2026, but one of them in particular has the potential to completely revolutionise the game. For more, I'm joined by our NRL reporter, Cody Kay. Codes, morning. The kickoff rule is in the spotlight. What can you tell us?
Well, look, if it happens, it honestly is going to be one of the biggest rule changes to the way the game is played, because they're now talking about the idea, obviously, since time immemorial. They changed this in 1997, but the scoring team will now have the scoring team always gets the ball back. The non-scoring team is now going to get the chance to say, well, we either want to kick off or receive, which would be a huge change to the way the game is currently played. The obvious reason for this is to stop momentum swings. Like, you see games now where there's 20, 30-point momentum swings, and you talk to players and they say, look, once that momentum swings, it's just so hard to get it back. You do see situations where a team scores, gets the ball back, scores again, gets the ball back and scores. So it's like the opposition team, or the team that's being scored against, just never gets a chance to touch the footy again. So that's the reason for it. I can't imagine... I would really need to sit and wrap my head around it, but I've got probably a few issues with it. Like, let's say a team is leading by 10 points with 5 minutes to play, or a team rather is trailing by 10 minutes with, say, 5 to play, and they score. If all of a sudden the team that's been scored against, they're just going to get the ball back. They're not going to say, oh, well, we'll kick it back to you and give you a chance. So instead of having those really exciting moments where a team, all of a sudden the gap's now 4 points, they get the ball back, that set of 6 becomes really, really exciting. You're not necessarily going to see that anymore, but I do understand it from the perspective of just huge momentum swings. So look, that's potentially a massive rule change. They did do it, as I said, in 1997 in Super League. The other big one, changes to the penalty zone. So it was last year or the year before that they changed it so that you would only get a penalty for, say, ruck infringement if you were inside your own 40. It was a set restart outside of that. Now they're saying, well, we're going to scrap that. You're only going to get a penalty for a ruck infringement inside your own 20. Anything outside of that, so that 80-metre section of the field, is going to be a set restart. Reason being, again, to speed up the game with another set of 6. It's an interesting one, because I'm sure there are a lot of teams that would rather try and boot the ball 40 or 50 metres downfield than have a set restart. But that said, when you get on a roll, you can often get down the field that quickly anyway. One of the other big ones, I suppose, is the act of scoring. Now, if a player drops the ball over the line while in the act of scoring, that has previously been a 7-tackle restart. You can see here, this is a perfect example of it. That resulted in a 7-tackle restart for the defending team. Now, instead of getting that 7-tackle restart, it's a 6-tackle restart from the 20-metre line. And the other one is extended match day squads will go up to 19 plays instead of 18, mainly to cover for HIAs, but also if you lose a player in the warm-up. Obviously, look, none of these are set in stone yet. They're all potentials. I believe they would go to all the club bosses and gauge their responses. But yeah, I mean, they've played with the idea, they've talked about the idea of changing the kickoff rule a number of times in the past. If they do it, I'd be fascinated to see how it changes the game and whether or not it really can cap those momentum swings. But
was it successful or not in the Super League?
Kind of had mixed reviews. Okay. I mean, yeah, it wasn't so resoundingly successful that when the game reunited that they decided to keep it, put it that way.